Welcome to another episode of Well Beyond Numbers. We continue the conversation with Dr. Irma Campos, and I want to learn more about myths about what you do. So, should a company hire you when they're struggling only? Is it that when the sales are falling, when my workforce is leaving to work at a competitor, is it the time to call you, or is it not? I should just worry on the business and try to hire somebody, and then when I have money, then I can hire you.
Yeah, both. I would say, so a myth, it's a bust or debunk would be that you only call, right, performance management coaches or consultants when you're struggling. No, you call them also when you're doing well. You call them when you are struggling, yes, but when you're doing well, because you want to optimize functioning. And like we were talking about, retain and engage the employees that you can see becoming leaders in the future. And that ties a bit into the people management solutions component of our business as well.
Okay. Is developing leaders something that you only do for the C-level executives only?
No, yeah, we'll do it from frontline, middle managers, VPs, directors, C-suite. We'll do it for all levels, and then also for performers that are really top performers that seem to be prepared eventually to become leaders. So we want to start usually earlier, and you were sharing some of your experience with leadership development, but we do want to start earlier with those people so they can start to develop those soft skills, so to speak, or interpersonal skills and, cognitive skills before they're stepping into the leadership roles.
Okay, that's to a segue to that. Does that help you develop or uncover future leaders, that type of training?
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially the assessment piece, that's where we can start to ask the business owners and the people who really have insights of the organization into the organization, who they can see, right, with potential. And the assessments also allow us to see where are they performing along the skills that are needed, both in their roles, but also maybe for leadership roles. So it does help us tap into, right, those people that might be, maybe not on the radar of the business or could be on the radar, but we want to assess further and, really help further. So it gives us definitely insight. And I love that, especially that type of work too, because as an eventually, we were all early career professionals, and we had people who helped us continue to develop into where we are now. And it's really rewarding. Mm-hmm.
That's nice that you do that. When I started my career, I started working, I was fortunate to work at Morgan Stanley, and I worked there for 10 years. And back then the company took time to not just hire good employees, but also to train them really well. Yeah. I had the opportunity to be trained ongoingly for 2 years before they placed me in my role.
Amazing.
So I got a chance and an opportunity to travel, to go to their home offices, to learn about the different sides of the businesses. And I understand that now we're living in a different world. That was almost 20 years ago.
Time flies when you're having fun.
So now my industry is completely changed. So most training is done over Zoom. You get your licenses, certifications over 6 months, and then you're off to sell. And hopefully you do sign up for training that hopefully will help you. So there's no development of that, at least in my industry. Are you seeing things like that in other industries, in healthcare or in here in South Florida? That also there's this other side that the employees that I hired, that I brought in the last few years, they come right out of college, great students, great employees, but now I'm seeing that now the training is up to me, and they're looking for different training that's tailored to their, not just their role, but to develop other skills.
Yeah, their needs, right? Yeah, great question. So yes, I am seeing some of that trend, but it depends on the organization. I think, right, we go back to culture and values. Healthcare, for example, I was trained as a healthcare provider. We are big on lifelong learning, as you were saying, continuing education. I see still, especially for organizations that have the budgets and prioritize that, they do invest still in learning and development quite a bit, and leadership development, because they know how it ties to patient outcomes from patient engagement, compliance with recommendations, for example, from the provider. It also helps with communication between administrators and physicians and medical providers. So they see that, and they will invest. But there's also, right, the other organizations that are kind of limiting a bit more of that, especially I think right now in this market. So it's a little bit up to us to also make the business case sometimes of how, the cost of turnover is really high for organizations. So it is in our best interest to try to hold on to the employees that we do see a potential in. And so that's where we, try to work with people with their budgets, their needs, their priorities, and then build upon that ultimately.
So a myth to tie off what you were saying is that you definitely want to invest in your workforce to make sure that you retain them, not just when people are struggling, but also as you're growing, because you don't want to lose that key employee that's bringing all the business, or that's helping you solve the problems on a day-to-day and helping the business owner get to their bottom line or help them succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think of too, like those intangibles that those employees bring, right? I was talking about institutional knowledge. I'm thinking about too, like how they can contribute to intellectual property when they've been in an organization long enough. Not only are they directly helping the organization grow, but also indirectly, if they have that, kind of longevity in the organization. So it is in our best interest as much as possible to try to hold on to the employees that are performing well. But we have to do that, right, with the way that we're training and developing and engaging them. And like I was saying earlier, so many, I think, so many individuals of younger generations really want to feel like they can continue to grow and develop personally and professionally. So that business psych piece is, I think, critical.
Okay, cool. There's an area that we haven't touched on yet, which is the other side of your practice, which is developing human development. Workforce, people management solutions. Can you tell us more about what that is and how does that intertwine with what you do in your practice?
Sure. Yeah. Those are the solutions that are a little bit, definitely more ongoing, if you will. That's where we're building the infrastructure for how performance as a whole is managed in the organization, right? From creating onboarding trainings to creating succession plans for the leaders, right? To also creating how employees are being evaluated in the organization. So it's a little bit more of that quote unquote HR side of things, but focused especially on the human part. And what we're trying to help organizations do with that is build the systems and processes to assess where employees are performing and then help them grow, right? And so it's not just focused on leaders like we've been talking about with some of the other services. This is focused also on performance in general.
Having processes in place for each individual, each role, so define them a little bit more. And how does that help a business owner as he's transitioning to possibly sell their practice or sell their business? How does that help them?
Yeah. So often, right, when a buyer is looking to purchase an organization, a business, they want those processes in place. They want to see that the organization can function without the founder, the owner, the leader, that there are replicable processes in place that work and that can be transferred. And not only that, but then it also allows the owner to take a step back as needed, to be able, right, to eventually take a step back fully and be able to transfer the business effectively and efficiently. Otherwise, it's not really, much of a business if it's not functioning without the founder.
That is true. Sometimes most business owners get so in the weeds of running the business that they can take a day off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super rough, I think. Yeah, I can't imagine, right, for those business owners what it must be like the weight of that psychologically, but then also, yeah, the operations day to day, having to run them instead of also thinking about the strategy of the business. And those are things that we have to think about in this day and age where things are rapidly changing. We have to think about the direction that the business is going in, not just the day-to-day operations.
Interesting. So in our practice, we help clients build wealth so that they can transition into retirement. And we do help business owners. And we have a different wide range of different business owners. Some are building wealth for the next 10 years before they do decide to sell. And some, I'll just give you an example. We have a client that is looking to sell her practice, she and her partner, next month.
Oh, wow.
So they're looking to transition to retirement very soon. So
That's huge.
It is huge, and they're very excited. They worked on that business that they both started for almost 30 years, and they have a workforce of 30 employees.
Amazing.
And they did really well, but I guess they don't have time at this point to hire you. But what would you recommend for businesses and business owners that are looking at that path? I'm going to retire in the next 5 years. I have a workforce. We have 30 employees. We don't know if we either going to sell the practice, sell the business, or have an employee, or have family members take over. Sometimes the kids don't want to take over the business because they've seen their parents work so hard in that business that they don't want their lifestyle. What do you recommend to those business owners to do, and what is the first thing you would think that they shouldn't do?
Yeah, it's a tough one with such a short timeline. I'm thinking, ooh, that's a really short timeline the next month. I think the first thing I would do, though, is find someone who can succeed, who can step in, right, as the CEO, as the leader. That I would definitely assess quickly. And I would use, in that case, standardized assessments to determine that. Right, there are a series of assessments that I love to use that help us tap into personality. Yes, you were talking about personality earlier, but that's one component, along with also the competencies that someone has to be a leader. So maybe even with the existing employees in the organization, tapping into which ones could be great to succeed, from that, and then being able to measure where they are with those competencies that are needed to lead the organization. But I would move pretty quickly there. That would be step one. And then I think step two, really making sure there are some people management processes in place to transfer over, right? So what are the roles, responsibilities, competencies that are being measured for each of the critical roles in the organization, so then that can be passed over to whomever's leaving.
Okay. And these are assessments that you do, that you provide. And does the company get to keep it for themselves after we work with you?
Absolutely. Yeah, they get to keep a full report of an interpretation. We'll do a qualitative component, which means we're interviewing people, right? And we're also doing a quantitative component where we're using the standardized assessments, right? That are valid, reliable, and they measure personality and they measure skills needed for leadership, and that are connected to positive outcomes among thousands of leaders that have been tested with this assessment. So those are assessments that we'll use. And yeah, the leader gets to keep that report and see what are my strengths, what are my areas of growth, what's my action plan collaboratively that we've tried to create with them.
Do you also get involved in anything that's related to HR or employee disgruntlement or anything related in that area as you're developing people? Let's say sometimes one person's passed on a promotion and another felt that maybe, hey, I was deserving that role. I needed to be, because I worked so hard. I mean, does that come across your practice often? Where do you see?
Not often. Yeah.
No?
I'm trying to think of any cases. There was a case, a large corporation we worked with. There were some cross-functional challenges. And so we had to really focus on what was at the root causes of the miscommunication among these cross-functional teams. And how could we really address that root cause? And that was part of the training, is facilitating effective communication strategies. But that's kind of the closest that we'll get to some of those, right, challenges you're mentioning. That does tend to be a little bit more under the umbrella of HR, if you will. That can involve definitely some layers of complexity. We try to focus more on like the piece where we solve the problem and can solve it, and we're confident that we can do that in a way with the skills, and then the performance coaching or the solutions piece.
That's awesome. I really think that your practice can help so many businesses, especially here in South Florida, not only because of the work you do, but also because some of them may not have the budget to have that in-house, and they can have that through you and your business.
That's right.
And is there any other area that you feel that a myth that you would like to uncover that I haven't asked you?
Yeah, off camera we were talking about when people hear the term psychology, they might mistakenly think that it has to do with issues or pathology.
Or you're a psychiatrist. Is my employer gonna give me a pill now?
Exactly, you need a prescription. And as a psychologist, I do not prescribe, but people might think that. And so, but I think I was sharing, the psychology is actually just the study of the mind. It incorporates, even what we call positive psychology, like how people have strengths and assets and what drives them in their careers, like what gives them purpose. And that's been a lot of my field. So we incorporate that. But yeah, I would say that's a myth. People hear psychology and they're like, sometimes, not all.
No.
Not always.
This has been great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to our last segment. We're going to talk about what drives Dr. Irma Campos crazy in her practice and what are the things that a business owner shouldn't do early on or while they're growing their practice. So I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I have. This has been another episode again of Wealth Beyond Numbers. I'm your host, Dennis Coral. And as we like to say at Coral Wealth Management, financial and retirement confidence starts here. Thank you for watching.